Drake.
What's going on, my brother? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. Just chilling here in my
Oh,
studio.
we're having some connection problems.
Oh no, we weren't
Hang
just a
on just a
second
moment
ago.
here. We're having. Yeah, I know it was clean and lovely and everything was great. How's it going now? It looks like it's doing good now.
It's good on my end.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Hangout. Thomas, Blair, Marsha, how y'all doing tonight? We've got a great show for us tonight. Robbie, how's your week been?
It's been it's been interesting. I mean, we did the gig this past week, a couple of gigs, cover gigs. So I was learning a bunch of
Yeah,
songs during the week and got up and rock and rolled, and now I'm back just chilling. So,
absolutely.
and
Yes, it
tonight's
is Matt
show,
Drake,
we
you see.
we got Mr. Paul Shortino tonight. It's gonna be a kick-ass show. Who do we got next week? You might as well throw it
Dude,
out.
we are looking at the one, the only Mr. John Waite joining us on the show next
Yeah.
week. It's going to be a great week and lots of things going on. We've had a great week, and man, it's time to get rocking and rolling, brother. You did some cover. You did some cover stuff, right? You did some cover
Yeah.
work this week.
Yep.
What was
Learned a
that all
bunch of
about,
cover
bro?
songs. Just there was an opportunity to play some covers and play 2 nights in a row, doing a bunch of cover songs with some guest singers, and we did it. It was actually a
Nice.
lot of fun. It went over really well. People had fun, and you know, I like to pay
Hell
attention to
yeah.
detail when I learn the covers too. So I like to play them. If I'm covering something, I'm gonna cover it like the record. That's why it's a cover. It's not a remake. It's a cover. But
Yes, I did buy a golf course, Steve. We'll talk about that after tonight's show, but let's get rocking and rolling. Let's bring Paul in, man.
yeah,
Paul's
we got
not in the
Paul. There's a
place.
lot to talk about. So we got to get him in here.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
Yeah, I was talking about doing this thing at MGM. It was like, Chopped, where they had
Right?
10 different chefs and they gave them a knapsack full of things that they had to make. And then they had like 10 people on each team to run to get, certain things off of a rack. And actually, Miss Nevada was there, but I didn't quite know that the Miss Nevada was a transgender. So it was a trip. Here, me and John Taffer being kind of coy and, oh, you're the first one to make the scene here in Nevada. I guess she wasn't. She was crowned for just a short time, but it was interesting. I mean, the food was a trip, and people were running around crazy. They had 30 minutes to come up with a dish. And of course, the dish that I really fell in love with that they took away really quick. And I was, after a while, with all the oysters that they fed us out of the can, I was kind of affected by it for a few days afterwards.
Nice.
Sitting on the throne for a little bit,
affected that way.
Oh, my Lord. And I'm a big fan of his,
That's
he's
not
like,
the effect it's supposed to have.
I was thinking the aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
Not the right effect.
Yeah. We talked about, he actually did a bar rescue for Ripper Owens, so it was kind of cool. We were hashing over some of the things that he did. In fact, right up the street, he did a makeover at a place called Capo's, which is a speakeasy here in Las Vegas. And
Cool.
it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, cool place to hang Italian food. Actually, Vinnie Paul used to go there when they had the meatballs the size of a freaking baseball. You get two of those, and you wouldn't want to eat dinner after having the meatball, So Taffer said, you got to shorten those meatballs so people eat more food here and drink more, So they shrunk their balls. I don't know if that's appropriate, in the day and age that we're living in, but
You're right.
Yeah, great balls of fire.
Yep.
I'm sure the Miss Nevada could have used that secret, I guess.
Oh yeah, I didn't know about it until I actually called my wife and said, and sent some pictures, and she goes, that's the first transgender Miss Nevada we've had. And I went, oh, well, that's interesting. Who knows these days, right? I mean, some men want to have babies. I saw that somewhere in an article that a guy was, wanting to have a kid,
But
who
you don't
knows?
mean wanting to have a kid in the historical sense, wanting to have a kid as in wanting to bear a child, a birthing person.
Yes. And, I mean, man's just tampering with a little bit too many things that they should probably just leave left alone.
Yeah, that's probably a
right.
Yeah, the good Lord did one thing right. He brought us here on the planet. When you come out and you got something hanging from the, you're a male. If you don't, then you're a female. You don't ride an X in there. We'll let the child decide when he gets old enough what he is.
Non-binary, don't worry about it.
And I have a lot of respect for those people. Don't get me wrong. To each their own. But it's kind of crazy the times we're living in. Best thing we can do is just keep rocking and playing good music.
That's it.
That's it, brother. That's it.
I posted something the other day. Turn off the news and turn up the music. Basically, people need to get away from the television and play music again and go back kind of to radio and what radio there is and listen to music. And there's so much propaganda and stuff going on out there that music is a healing. It heals the spirit. It heals the soul. And for a long time, so many people didn't even watch TV. I was living with a guy after my first, my first marriage, and on my second, but it's been 30 years, but my first one, I ended up living with this buddy, and he didn't even watch any TV. We woke up to Leonard Skinner and, freaking the Silver Bullet Band, and I mean, just some great music. And he'd play that shit all day long. It was like, even if you didn't want to hear it. Being in music, sometimes you go, hey, you know what? I've had enough of music because you're writing it, Every time I do a record, I don't want to hear it again. I spent so much time putting into it that it's like, okay, I've heard it enough times. Now that it's finished, I really, don't want to hear it. And then all of a sudden, you let a little time go by and you play something back and go, wow, that was really good. That's some good stuff I did, or that's some good stuff he did. But yeah, it's nice to be able to get away from the tube, so they speak. It's so much propaganda, which programming. They're programming everybody for everything right now. Yeah, programming for the mask, whatever. What's interesting to me is that when you have to bribe people to take something, you kind of want to question it. Maybe it would be a good idea why they want me to take this so bad.
The hard sale. It's a hard sale, and it started off.
Oh, it is.
And then it turned into coercion. And it's like, now you will. You didn't take my bribe, but guess what? We're gonna make you.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. And people have had different reactions from both sides of it. People that have taken it have been cool. Some people have taken it, the jab or whatever they want. I won't call it a vaccine because they say you have to take a booster and then you might have to take another booster. So it's kind of like a flu shot to me, and I just found out I'm allergic to the flu shot. So every time I took the flu shot, I got deadly sick. I had to frickin' sing for, it was like 8.5 weeks and raiding the rock vault 6 nights a week. And I had walking pneumonia from the flu shot. It was like, I'm not in a hurry to go get the COVID thing. It might kill me. The flu shot's doing this to me. Who knows? So I might, I should probably be a little bit more informative in what's going on with what they're giving people and stuff. So, but it's messed with a lot of people's lives. It's the same, you know, it really is, with restaurants, bars, music.
Yeah.
You know, if they're telling us what to teach our kids, maybe the next thing they'll be telling us what we can, you know, what kind of music we can play. You
Right.
know,
You can't write
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, is it right for the party? You know, it's almost like we're kind of swinging that pendulum so close to Marxism, you
Yep,
know,
so
to
true.
where they're in control of everything. It's pretty crazy. It's happening so fast. You know, I never thought I'd live in my day. I'm 68, so I never thought at 68 I would see, like, you know, this stuff going on. You know, like, really, and they're just testing the waters to see how many people will comply to whatever they want to do. And I think Americans need to stand up and start saying, "Hey, wait a minute, you guys got to even, you know." Dr. Fauci is actually selling, you know, candles, and you know they've made him almost like a god. You know,
Yeah.
and it's really kind of crazy. But you know, who knows what's going to happen? People need to speak up and
Amen.
and say what's on their mind if they can. You know, they're trying to shut down those avenues for people to do. It was a trip to go on Facebook the other day and not be able to go on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They already took my Instagram away, saying it wasn't me. Somebody else opened up the Paul Shortino Instagram, and so they shut me down. It's been I'm going on the third week, you know.
Wow.
So I have to hold up a sign with a number on it saying I'm the real Paul Shortino and take a picture. It's the second time this has happened to me. Why don't you investigate the person who doesn't have 7,000 or 8,000 followers? You know,
Right.
Right.
you know, I mean, you know, I've been around for a while, and there's all these photos out there and people I'm following, and then somebody just opens up an Instagram account, and all of a sudden, I've got to prove who I am, and they don't even. There's no picture or anything on this site, and so it's really kind of crazy, you know. I've been telling fans. It just so happened I had a Duke Fame account, the real Duke Fame, or I think it's the Duke Fame. So when I was in Spinal Tap, so I had that account open and wasn't, you know, doing it because it was taking away from the other one, you know, the original. So out of the blue, you know,
There's Duke.
there he is. There I am in my
Duke
younger day. And you know, that girl, that's with Howard Hessman. That girl was actually with it was Jackson Brown's girlfriend before he met Daryl Hannah. So,
Nice.
so this was before Rough Cutt got signed. That all this was video or filmed at the Holiday Inn in Burbank.
Really?
Oh yeah, in the lobby. And I was sitting there with that lady, and I can't remember her name, and Wendy Dio, and it was before Rough Cutt even got signed. So here I'm playing this rock star. I just showed up at the casting call with my own clothes on, and they went, "That's Duke Fame." So I got the gig. Jakey Lee was supposed to, he showed up later, and some other guys in Rough Cutt showed up later, but I just showed up the first. I was the first one there, and I'd already dressed, and the casting said, and wardrobe said, "We don't have to dress him. That's Duke right there." So I just went in, rapped, and when we did that shoot, I was sitting there. I didn't know that Michael McKean and Christopher Guest and all these guys were wearing wigs. So I was going, man, these guys are having a bad hair day. And then we broke for lunch. we broke for lunch, and I'm sitting next to Rob Reiner, and I'm trying to sell him on songs. We haven't been signed yet, and so I'm thinking, wow, maybe we could get some of the songs that we're trying to get signed to on in this movie. And there he's going, no, kid. We've got those songs. Big Bottom, My Girl's Got Them. We've got all that stuff, And then I'm sitting right across from Michael McKean and Christopher Guest and Harry Shearer. And I look at them and I go, you guys look familiar. You look like those guys that are having a bad hair day. Nothing like putting your foot in your mouth,
Oh,
Oh, I
Check,
swear.
please.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Then we filmed it. It was all ad lib. And then Rough Cutt went out on the road. We first went out with Crocus and Accept. And we were not even getting a line check. And it just so happened the tour manager for Crocus, who was the headlining act, came by our dressing room and went, "Aren't you Duke Fame?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm the guy. I'm from the Normo Dome." And he said, "Yeah, the guys at Crocus, they Storaci and the band want to meet you." And I went, "Are you serious?" So I went backstage. I'm signing autographs, meeting those guys, and next thing you know, we're getting a line check and going from Budweiser to Heineken beer. It was kind of cool. They were showing that everywhere in the hojos, and I guess they had it on their buses and stuff. So, but that Spinal Tap's been following them around all my life.
Were you on a bus on that tour too, or how were you guys traveling?
Oh yeah, we were traveling on a bus.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a trip. It was a trip. And then we picked up the West Coast tour with just Accept. And that's when Rough Cutt decided, we got to get away from Dreaming Again, and you keep breaking my heart, and got to write some up-tempo stuff. So we actually were pulling stuff that never got recorded. Because, when Accept came on, balls to the wall, every song went, it was just, people were coming to see them even on the 3-bill with Crocus. They were just, they had just came to the U.S. And actually, I've been doing some work with Peter, who used to be in the band. Peter Baltz, the bass player. He sent me some songs for movies and stuff like that to kind of write, which is kind of the trip, That after a while, you know how it is, Robbie. You just kind of run out of things to write about. You start grabbing anything from the air. Oh, wait a minute here, especially lyrically. It's like, what can I write about now? Because Rough Cutt released a record after 35 years this year. We recorded stuff in 2017 and then did a few other tracks. I've kind of gotten really good at taking people's ideas and moving them around. That's the good thing about Pro Tools or Cubase or Logic or any of those programs. You're not having to cut the tape and it's on the floor, piece them back together.
Right.
So it's been kind of a interesting journey. In fact, on some of this Quiet Rock or King Cobra stuff, even that Robbie, we worked on some of the stuff we did. We were doing that. We were cutting and pasting ideas together and sending them back and forth. And it's what a new way. And actually, it's probably a better way to write songs, I would think, because you can really analyze them. And if you're in a room full of 5 people with 5 different ideas, everybody's wanting their ideas to toss at you. So this kind of, you kind of get an idea from one guy and maybe another idea from somebody, and you can move things around. And for a singer, he can mess around with the melodies and also for guitar players, that write melodies and lyrics. There aren't a whole lot of them. Robbie's one. It's is a songwriter. And I experienced that working with him in the short time we've actually worked together. That there are some guitar players out there, they're songwriters, and some guys that write licks and go, "Hey, here's my song." Oh yeah, cool. That's a great lick, and that's another great part. Those are all great parts, but where do I sing? So but there are guys out there that have that talent to not just write lyrically and melody and get write a song, and are great guitar players. One thing I am is I'm a frustrated hairdresser and a frustrated guitar player. I can play guitar good enough to write something and accompany myself, but I can't play it like Robbie or some of these guys that can just lay off riffs and just go, well, here's another. Wow, that's some great stuff, So it's
So
really
when,
a
when,
pleasure to work with guys that have that are songwriters.
when are we going to get to hear some of this, Paul? The King Cobra stuff with Robbie and you?
Well,
That's supposed to come out actually next year, and some of the stuff that Robbie did on it is still going to be on it,
yeah,
which
I
is
won't be
great.
playing on it. I'm not going to be playing on it, but
But
busy.
he's written parts and
Yeah,
parts of the songs that are a very major part of it. Who knows? Maybe he'll want to be a guest on this. I'm sure it would be great to have him
yeah,
play on some of the stuff that he's already contributed to the ideas. So it would really be cool.
yeah.
Hell
That
yeah,
would be
it would
cool.
be.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
Yeah, oh,
Oh,
absolutely. I fell in love with his writing and his playing right off the bat. It was like,
yeah, he's a
you know,
beast.
it was like really cool having another guy who is a good songwriter, you know. And he's a great songwriter. He's got great ideas. In fact, he was sending some great songs. He was going, wait a minute, hold off. I think I might want to put this on my own thing.
Robbie.
And I'm going, yeah, I totally get it. I sent somebody
Gosh.
something, and it just came out, and I after I did it, I went, wow, that would really make the lyrics, so that would really make a great ballad. And it was on a kind of like a Van Halen song for someone, and I went, you know, I kind of wish I would have just held back on that, but I got also a Bad Boys record that's coming out. It's old stuff, but I actually found some vintage stuff on a DAT that was in my garage, in my DAT machine in a rack. And it's been there for 15 years since I moved here to Vegas. So it was probably there beforehand. It's got Mitch Perry on it, Michael Guy. So there's stuff on there that actually was recorded at Pasha Records as I had a solo deal after I Quiet and Riot myself went different ways. And after doing one record, and I found this stuff, and some of it was a trip importing it into Pro Tools off of the DAT. And some of the tapes weren't, so we had to send it to a few people that actually made it sound really good, you know, because there was some hissing in there. And so some guy that mastered it really, they sent me the tracks, and it's just really some really cool stuff. So they're gonna, you know, think about bringing this stuff out. So I don't know when that's going to come about, but it was neat to find some, you know, you go searching for stuff and you go, oh my God, when did I do this? Oh my God, when did I sing like this?
I was good.
Exactly. Holy Moses, where the hell did that voice come from? You know, and it's really some really amazing stuff. I was like, wow. I don't even think I could pull it off. Some of this stuff that I listened to that were just rough tracks. And in fact, the guy that recorded some of the stuff was an engineer that would bring in Guns N' Roses when it was dead in the studio at Pasha, and he would do some demos with them and stuff. And so he actually recorded some of these tracks they were just rough mixes and never been released. And in fact, the Bad Boys CD was released in Japan, I think about 32 years ago. So it was kind of trippy finding these DATs going, holy moly. You know, did I sing that?
So when did you discover you could sing? Where did that all come from?
Oh, my mother was a singer. So when I was about 5 years old, I was singing like, I want to be around and pick up the pieces. Tony Bennett stuff and vaudeville stuff, you know, and Birth of the Blues, and just songs that, you know, nobody probably would know, you know, now in this time period. Stuff like Sophie Tucker, you know, like what was so I'm trying to think of one song that she did, but I was a youngin', and the music was in the house more than anything, you know.
This is in Ohio. This was in Ohio, right?
In Ohio where I grew up, and it's actually where they make tanks.
Really?
Where's that?
Yeah,
What city is it?
Lima, Ohio. And I didn't know that until I was watching Discovery Channel, and I'm going, they were bringing tanks back from Iraq and stuff, and refurbishing them. They didn't show you how they built them; they just showed you how they repaired them and stuff. And so, but I was living in California for about 40 years, and now it's not the same. I was in there in '67. Probably when Hendrix and all those guys were hanging out down on Sunset Boulevard, and it's pretty cool stuff.
What year did you move to? Was it Glendale?
Yeah, Glendale, California, in 1967, 68.
Okay, so you spent your formidable years in Ohio, and did you do bands in Ohio at all?
Yeah, actually, I had a band together, and we went on Kitty TV. First song we ever played was "House of the Rising Sun," that was done by the Animals.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And that was the first song I ever learned on guitar. And my uncle played banjo. My great uncle, anyways, he played banjo, ukulele, and
Sweet.
so I had a uke when I was like 2 or 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
So it must have been in my blood to want to chase after. And watching Ed Sullivan was every Sunday was RMTV. I watch some of the episodes now, and it's like watching Vegas. They had acrobats on there. They say I had George Carlin on there. I saw one just recently with George Carlin on there, and he wasn't really that funny, but he still was a funny dude. Like he was saying, I got a few books that are for readers in the bathroom, and there was one thing he was saying in there. Yeah, when we were kids, we used to swim in the Hudson River, with all the sewage. We didn't even need to get a polio shot. Our immune system was so strong. We've made life. If you think about it, you go to other countries, you can't drink the water, you can't eat certain things.
Right.
It's because our immune system. As soon as penicillin came into the world, it was the miracle drug, and everybody got to, the doctors would prescribe penicillin for everything, including the animals that are they're producing for chickens and cows are pumped full of penicillin, antibiotics, whatnot.
Right.
So, it's our immune system is, and them keeping us locked up isn't the best thing for us either. Get out there and get the germs.
Right.
Actually, I actually went to Texas is how I got COVID, and went to a book signing for a friend of mine. And I was hugging all of the people in the kitchen, handing out CDs and, giving them to the working class people. And that's how I ended up getting COVID. But I got on an Airbus, and I was next to a lady who coughed all the way from Dallas to Las Vegas. And I was going, I don't know if I got it. I don't even know where I got it, but I know that my wife went ahead and had the medication for me. The horse medicine. I was.
Oh no!
Oh no!
The horse dewormer.
That was it. They cut him because he called, ivermectin out on the air. Just playing. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he'll come
do
back.
that.
Right? Can't speak the truth. That things that work. Takes back to Congress. Here he comes.
I'm back.
Okay.
I think my phone is dying on me. I'm on my phone. I was trying to get on my iPad and everything. So I think my phone, but yeah. I don't know where I left off, but
you're laughing that because you said ivermectin worked. That they
it was like all of a sudden you're cut off.
What's interesting at that wedding, one of the news people had came up to me and said, "So we heard you got COVID, And I said, "Yeah, I did. I got it." And my wife got this medication from this doctor who prescribed it, and they immediately said, "Oh, so you mean the horse medicine?" And I said, well, I should have went, but I didn't. I said it was actually it wasn't a veterinarian who prescribed it for me. It was a doctor. So it's not the horse medicine really. And you have to take it with a Z-Pack. So you take it with some steroids. I really, if you get this stuff right at the beginning, and then I think they were giving Trump something different, but the remdesivir, or if that's how I'm saying it right, they were giving that to people when they went into the hospital. So that's what fills your body up with fluid. You know, that was created for Ebola and SARS, and so you can't mix that with what's going on, or if you've been vaccinated. Some people have had no issues with the jab. Some people with the jabs have really crazy things. But it was interesting how, you know, they also revert this to, you know, oh, it's horse worm medicine, and
Right.
what I took wasn't. It
Horsey
was
warmer.
yeah. I should have went.
Right.
Yeah.
It was working for millions of people over in India and Asia and places like that where they give it out for free, or you can buy it straight over the counter.
Well,
But, you know,
India supposedly is using it. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. But if Big Pharma can't get their hands into it,
exactly,
filled off of
that's
it,
really what it's all about. They're
use.
making so much money right now off of this.
No,
you know,
absolutely.
and it's really a shame. What's really a shame is just the small businesses, bars. You know, I grew up playing in bars in Glendale, California. I was playing bass, backing up the Coasters, Bobby Day, the Platters,
nice.
all these bands. You know, that I was playing in clubs at 16 years old, and played in a club also under the Ice House, and it was affiliated with the one in Pasadena. And they had like a Snoopy plane hanging from the ceiling, you know, whale boats and sawdust everywhere. And we were, you know, playing, you know, Proud Mary and, you know, Whole Lot of Love, Led Zeppelin, you know, and, you know, Hendrix. All that stuff was a trip because you could turn on AM radio and hear Frank Sinatra, Strangers in the Night, and then hear Purple Haze. You know, FM radio wasn't even in existence. It was like, wow. You know, it was so much coming at you in such a short period of time, you know. And now look at us in this day and age where I'm on my phone talking to you guys on the internet.
Yeah.
You know,
radio has changed a lot.
Oh, that must have been something else. That time period must have been just amazing, really.
Oh, you know? It was. You know, DJs could play what they wanted to. They could pick the
I still
music.
do.
Yeah. You know, and that's what's great about the internet right now, are that there are radio stations that can play what they like, you know, to an audience who wants to hear it, you know. But even local radio, even if you're somebody and you're coming out with something that might sound classic, they're not going to play it because they're getting paid from paid from corporations to play the same freaking song. And I remember being in California, you know, about 12 o'clock, I could hear Johnny Was a Schoolboy or Can't Get Enough of Your Love from Bad Company. Well, change it up. They had a couple other songs that were hits.
Yeah, deeper cuts.
Yeah, right.
You know, or play something that wasn't a hit that was from them, you know. It just, but it was like a certain rotation of songs that they would play on a regular basis. And it's kind of sad because there was a time in the late 60s, 70s, you know, where their DJs and radio disc jockeys were playing stuff that they felt they loved. Now it's the same way with the news, you know. These people aren't journalists. They get in front of a teleprompter and they're handed what to say and what not to say.
Yeah.
Right. You know? Same way with the DJ, right? What to play and not to play. Here's this.
Yeah. I mean, you just, I'm going to cut through the chase. You got to have balls and you got to be able to do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And when I do my show during the mornings, I play whatever the hell I want to, and I call it Radio Whiplash. And you might hear Led Zeppelin, you might hear Motley Crue, you might hear Belle Biv DeVoe, and I might throw in Blake Shelton because I'm going to play whatever the hell I want to play during my show because that's what keeps people entertained.
Right. And then you know what's great about it is what's great about music, it's just it has all of these different types of music. We've categorized it. You know, and on AM radio, it wasn't categorized.
Right.
You know, when you turned on the radio, whatever station came in, might have been KTLA, Channel 5 in California, or whatever. But it was they also had a radio station too, and you would hear like Frank Sinatra, and Jimi Hendrix, or Led Zeppelin. You know, you'd hear all of these, whatever the DJ wanted to play. So it was great.
Yeah.
You know.
And I tell local bands, man, if you've got something that's airworthy, it's been mixed, it's appropriate, and bring it to me. I'm going to give it some rotations, man. Let's get you some airtime. That's what radio's supposed to be about. You know, corporate took over. It's all about airtime and advertising and the 30-second spot and the 60-second spot. And let's stop, you know, taking requests and dedications, and let's stop pushing what music and radio is supposed to be about.
Absolutely.
I do what I want to do. And if they don't like it, fire me. I'll find the next.
I do what I want to do.
Yeah. You speak your mind. That's what you do, you know.
That's it. That's it, brother.
It is what it is nowadays. I kind of feel for the up and coming generations that they, you know, they're going to have a whole different way of looking at things. We grew up in the golden age. If you think about some of the music that we grew up to, you know, breaking stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Look at the Beatles, and most of that stuff was recorded on 4 tracks, and they kind of just broke every rule in the book at EMI. I actually got to meet Jeff Emmerich when Cheap Trick was here in Las Vegas doing Sgt. Pepper's. I had bought his book on engineering, and actually got a chance to speak to him after seeing Cheap Trick do Sgt. Pepper's. Or a Magical Mystery Tour. I think it was a little bit of both, whatever. But great. You know, they did an amazing job. I mean, it was the Beatles. John Lennon said he would never see that record performed, and then Cheap Trick did it and put a show together here. I was just so grateful that somebody goes, "Hey, you want to go see this? I got some tickets." And I said, "Yeah, I would love to see it." It was great stuff. Great stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, and so, you know, I mean, it's like those years that we got to experience and hear some of that music. Now people can tune their voice. They can, you know, there's so many good things you can do with technology that in some ways it's hindered some people to be more creative, or take different chances, you know, or take talent that isn't any talent.
Right.
Make it sound really good. I've been really good at doing that. I worked on somebody's record for 2 years, making it sound good.
And not to mention just culturally how different everything is. I mean, come on, you were on the Gong Show. You got to tell us about the Gong Show. Most people probably don't even know what the Gong Show is. You know,
I was on there twice, and it was with this guy Bob Sorensen, who kind of looked like Hoss Cartwright, and my battery's telling me I'm low. Anyways, we were on there twice. The first time we were on there, some kid showed up with his band, or not his band, but his classroom. So they judged people by the audience participation. So actually all of his classmates from his class were in there. So actually he got beat out by a young boy that did a song, and he was talented. We did a song called He Don't Love You in harmony, like I love you. But Chuck Barris was a trip, and JP Morgan, you know, and actually Carmine's lady bought the rights to the Gong Show, and they were actually doing a Broadway kind of live show on stage is what they were doing with that. And I told her, I said, look for the 2 episodes I were on, you know, because we were in these jumpsuits. You know, I was on the Dating Game too with Jim Lang.
I'm trying to find this stuff, man. I'm trying to find pictures if they exist. Here.
I wish I could find something. I had a 45 that had come out, and it was, I think, in 1970, and it was called Follow Me. In fact, I did an interview recently, and the guy said, I got your 45.
Oh, wow.
And I said, really? I says, I'll send you some stuff if you'll send it to me. And he goes, yeah. Because I'd given them all away. But it was the same year that I was on Bell Records. I was 17 years old. And all studio cats. Snuff Garrett, who produced Sonny and Cher, Liza Minnelli, was the producer of this song. And so we put this out, and it was 22 with a Bullet on Billboard. And I actually
Nice.
initially recorded it with Mickey Dolenz sister, Coco Dolenz, from the Monkees. And so, anyways, she didn't show up, management issues, so they brought in another girl that they were producing and she was doing her own thing, and her name was JoJo. So it was Paul and JoJo, and it was 22 with a Bullet. And then all of a sudden Vicki Lawrence came out with "That's a Night That the Lights Went Out in Georgia. That's a night they hung an innocent man." And there went Shorty's 45 right off and shelved it, so anyways, I didn't do anything for a long time. I just kind of just played around in California everywhere, every dive you can think of. And
now you owned a rehearsal studio too, didn't you? Because I remember in the 90s rehearsing at a place called Shortino's.
Yep,
and it had
on Varna Street. It was me and my brother. Yeah,
Van Nuys?
Yep. North Hollywood, Van Nuys, right on the border there.
Yep.
And me and my brother had this place, and actually we lived. Me and my wife now. We actually I was in Germany doing a project, and jammed with John Entwistle and Skunk Baxter before I went over to do this project. Went over, did some tracks, came back. They wanted me to try out. They had a band with Mickey Thomas. Mickey left, was going to be on Scotty Brothers record. Mickey wanted to do some of his own solo stuff, and the record, Scotty Brothers didn't want him to do that. They were a mob label or whatever. So I did some auditioning for them, was in a band with them for probably, 2.5 weeks. And Entwistle had, at Mates, he had the stage all bass rigged, and Skunk Baxter sitting right next to the drums with a half stack. And I went to rehearsal. I just came back from Germany the day before the Rodney King riots, which was crazy. And we were rehearsing at Mates, and Skunk showed up, and he belongs to the ATF. I didn't know that. He shows up with a, vest on and everything else. And and yeah, we did have a rehearsal studio that, pretty much everybody rehearsed there at one time. And even the Quiet Riot with Kevin and Bobby Rondinelli was in the band. And I don't even remember everybody but maybe Alex Grossi. But we had a lot of people come in and out of there. And it was, now it's Amp Rehearsal Studios. They bought it years ago. But me and my wife were staying there because I had come back from Europe, and then all this stuff was going on the day after I got back and was in rehearsal. And then they wanted me to come back to Europe to finish this record, and we called this record Shortino, It's About Time. And there's a clock on the front of it when I finished the record, and my flight was out at 9, and I finished the record, I think 10 till 7 or something. So, and it took a couple of years to finish this record. That's why they call it It's About Time. But there was some really cool material on there, I listened to it now, and there were some songs on there that we re-recorded that I did with the Bad Boys, with Mitch and Michael Guy and Sean McNabb. In fact, James Kodak played on some tracks. In fact, he played on some of these tracks that I found, which was really interesting. So it's kind of a trip, when you look back and see the years have gone by so fast. And then I met Ronnie James Dio, which was a fluke. Came to a bar. I was playing out in Hermosa and Redondo Beach. And Dave Alford had, the drummer of Rough Cutt, had been close to Ronnie. And he said, if you ever find a singer that's a decent singer, look me up. So he came out to see me sing, him and Benny. And next thing I know, he comes to the rehearsal studio. So I'm doing like 5 nights a week of cover songs, and at the same time putting a band together, Rough Cutt, with, actually the first lineup of Rough Cutt was Claude Schnell, Joey Cristofanelli, Jakey Lee, Dave Alford on drums, and actually, I think Jakey Lee replaced a guy named Bob DeLellis. And all these guys were actually in Rat at one time, or Mickey Rat. And then Jake got we were rehearsing, and the guys that were managing me at the time were a couple of guys. One guy was a director for Charlie's Angels, so I got to meet all the Angels when I played at his wedding reception.
Nice.
Jacqueline Smith, Farrah Fawcett, Kate Jackson, and Cheryl Ladd. I got to meet them all. It was really a trip.
How were they? Were they nice?
Oh, they were very nice, unbelievably beautiful in person. Sometimes people look better on camera. Well, Jacqueline Smith looked just flawless. So these guys were managing me, and they pretty much owned everything. So when I met up with the Dios, they brought in their attorney Stan Diamond to get me out of this contract. And Ronnie started producing, kind of going in the rehearsal with us, and Jake and that whole lineup. We actually recorded some stuff, Try a Little Harder, and A Little Kindness. Some of those songs were on the best of tribute bands at the Troubadour, the best of the Troubadour. And we also won another, before we got signed to Warner, contest, KLOS, best unsigned bands, and so there were 10 bands out of all these bands and Jake was on one of the tracks. Then he got a gig with Ozzy, and next thing you know, we were looking for guitar players, and Joe Cristofanelli went on to play with Rat. So it was just me and the drummer, and Claude Schnell went and tried out for Hughes and Thaw. And I don't know if he got into the band, but later he was in Ronnie's band. And so was Craig Goldie, but Craig Goldie replaced Jake at first. And then Amir got in the band. I think Amir was in the band. We went to Europe for a couple of weeks to get a deal, and came back and got signed to Warner Brothers. So he was in the band for a short time, and got signed to a major label. And next thing, we spent a year looking for Ted Templeman signed the band. We spent a year looking for a producer, and we wanted him to do it. And he was doing a record with Clapton and Lindsey Buckingham. So we kind of missed a window that Rat had, because we got signed ahead of like Dokken and Motley. They all were putting out these EPs, Right. Rat put out an EP, so then they got picked up, and Motley put out an EP, and they got picked up, and we were still waiting on Ted Templeman, because we really wanted him to produce the band. We should have actually had Ronnie James Dio produce it. It would have come out probably the same time as Holy Diver. And some of the tracks that he did, that we redid in the studio, were a lot rawer. I think we wouldn't have missed that window. Maybe we were supposed to miss that window. I don't know. Sometimes, maybe you're not ready for success, and that, so the good Lord holds you back so you don't fall into, maybe I wouldn't even be here,
Right.
Absolutely. Or maybe I wouldn't still have a voice. Some guys have lost everything that they had, because they got lost, period.
Right.
Sometimes success is too much to handle, and maybe that's why everything happens for a reason, I think, in the universe.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother.
So
absolutely.
So who knows? I'm just grateful to still be around and still be able to sing, and got the teeth and the hair, at this age. I watched my dad pass at 65, and I'm 68, so I'm in a lot better shape than he was. God bless his soul. He was in the Marine Corps and fought in the Korean War, another war that we didn't need to be involved in. We haven't. America hasn't won a war since World War II. It's all been politically wars. We're not brought into the world to hate each other. They teach us that as we get older, or to fight each other or whatever. We're actually brought into the world as light and so innocent and loving, But it's interesting. I listened to this pastor out of Turning Point. He's out of San Diego. He's 84 years old. I think if I could picture what God looked like when you see him, except God's hair would probably be so long because he didn't get a cut. But you know, he says, you know, children. He says I got 4 kids and probably 8 grandchildren. He says a toddler's, you know, rules are: I see it, it's mine. If I have it, it's mine.
Right.
If you put it down, I pick it up. It's mine, you know. But he did this whole thing on, you know, that people shouldn't, with their children, constantly, if they make a mistake, don't reprimand them for the mistake, but don't make them feel really bad about it, because we all make choices and mistakes. However, you know, if you lie, it doesn't mean, if you total lie, it doesn't mean you're a liar. Or if you've taken something from somebody, it doesn't mean you're going to be a thief the rest of your life. You correct a child on the way through life. And it was kind of a cool way how he put it, you know, because children, you know, they don't understand. When they grab something, they think it's theirs,
Right.
you know, so not necessarily this because they took something and then they take it home and it didn't belong to them. And that happened to me when I was a kid. You know, my parents would take me over to a friend's house and I ended up with a gun or some toy, and they go, take me back and shame me, you know, and
Right.
have to give it back, you know. By the way, this isn't his.
Right.
He's sorry for taking it, you know, and but you know, and you got to build people up too, you know, and with children,
absolutely.
you have to, you know, have to give them confidence and build them up, you know, and I really feel there's a heavy load on young people today because of social media. People can get behind a keyboard and say whatever they want, and you know, there's a lot of children that are having issues of suicide because of social media. I don't know why they shut it down. There was something I heard about a whistleblower, you know, on 60 Minutes that was saying something about Facebook and all the suicides that are happening with young people. And so all of a sudden, you know, I go on, well, they taken away my Instagram. So now I figured they just shut me down completely. I had to call out to some friends and go, you still got Facebook? I don't know what's going on. I've got Twitter, but I don't know. Everything else is shut down. You know, so
Zuckerberg lost $7 billion yesterday.
It's unbelievable how much power they have in on the planet, you know.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I've got a quick question for you, brother. I'm going to bring up a photo here of a poster that I found that I want to see if it sparks a memory for you.
Oh, you did some research. You know, when I was 16, we were in 17, somewhere around there. The guitar player was 17 years old. And actually, at that time period, we were actually jamming around with Scott Gorham, who was in Thin Lizzy, and Bobby Benberg, who was in Supertramp. And we had a band together, but we were playing as the Reestablishment, I think. And the drummer was 27, guitar player was 17, I was 16. And we were playing in this place called Under the Ice House, where they filmed that movie, The Stewardesses. So we got $15 and signed a release form. We didn't know it was the first 3D porno that actually got tossed out of San Francisco. So we signed this release form, and they made a ton of money. It cost us $10 to go see the film. And the guitar player's mom and dad had to escort us in as adults because we had to go into a adult theater. Like they had the Pussycat theaters back then. And and you know, I mean, putting on those glasses and seeing all that porno in 3D. The guy's dad said, you know, I'm going to cross the street and have some beers. And there were all these dudes in the freaking theater with trench coats on and stuff, you know. But our part wasn't until the middle of the movie. And we were just in there playing music. as these two girls had walked in the club. So we didn't really know, we weren't involved in any. What was really interesting, after 6 months, they called us back and said, we're going to do some more filming. And so we all showed up in different clothing, and they told us, no, go back and get the same clothes. Our hair was longer. We were going through the time period, where, you had all of the Creedence Clearwater songs were, Proud Mary, Susie Q, Born on a Bayou. And I'm trying to sing like John Fogerty. And this guy's telling me, you better be careful. And so I started taking up the horn for my diaphragm and stuff, but I was singing a lot through my throat. So we were playing 4 nights, and after 4 nights, it was like, hey, what's up? Doing Led Zeppelin, Whole Lot of Love, and all of this stuff. And so, yeah, that's how we got into that picture. It's funny how some of these things you're popping up. We also, I was in a movie, or in the TV show Fame. On the second Rough Cutt record, we did Want to Be a Star. And I did it with the two main characters that were in Fame, and Debbie Allen. And we showed up at the Crack is Stupid. And I don't know why they always made me up to look like a broad. They had all this eye makeup on me and stuff. And, boom, we start out, I want to be a star, and poof, all of this frickin' smoke comes, and they're next. The two guys that have short hair got wigs on, and they got guitars and not playing. And I look like some woman, I look like a tranny. Excuse me. I shouldn't be saying. I look like a guy that wants to be a female, but nothing against the transgenders. But that's, I had so much makeup. I just didn't look like a good-looking guy.
His phone died.
Yeah.
That's all right. Right. We'll try one more time here. That's funny, dude. That's funny. I didn't know Stewardesses was a 3D porn movie. I knew it was a Triple X movie, but I didn't realize it was 3D. So that was really coming to a theater near you.
It's funny because they kicked it out of San Francisco. Now it'd be like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. All right. So we've had a lot of people in the audience tonight. He doesn't have a charger, Corass. Yeah, right. It is crazy. It's been a crazy kind of
O'Brien. Oh, Darren's been sick. Hope you're feeling better there, Darren.
I hope you're feeling better, man.
Veronica.
He is very funny. Very funny.
Yeah, some good stories.
It's been a blast with him.
Well,
so next week, I don't see him trying to peep back in here.
Okay, well.
Maybe we'll just have to have him back at some point.
Yeah. I wanted to mention to him, I have a connection to Rough Cutt, sort of. I was going to tell him about, but no big deal. Maybe another time. It's a lot of interesting stories, that his history with in California and stuff. He lived through, man, some of the great years, really, all through the 70s. Being a musician through the 70s and 80s here. Whew.
Yeah,
those were the years, right? Those were the years. Because once the 90s hit, once like 93 hit, it just, everything changed. The scene was never the same. It wasn't vibrant. I mean, it was intense in those days.
Absolutely.
You guys lived through it. It's pretty cool.
Hey, I just got a note saying 2 years ago today, you were here playing a concert in San Angelo, brother.
Is that right?
Rock the River 1 was 2 years ago to this date.
Yeah. To the date. Yeah.
To the date. And 1 year ago today, we had Latroit on the show with us.
Ah.
That's crazy. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, man.
Well, yeah. Huh.
How long have we been doing this now?
What's that?
How long have we been doing this now?
A year and a half, at least, right?
Yeah.
I think we started in June of 2020. So June, something like that. May.
June or April? I thought it was April when we did the first show with your student.
Oh yeah.
Cora says, Robbie, your hair looks fantastic. Actually, she said great. And Matt, you look a lot thinner. Thank you. I am.
That's
I
funny because
appreciate that.
Jessica's telling me to cut it, and I'm like, I don't know. I think I might just let it grow for a little bit.
Let it go, bro. Let it go. Um, Yesterday was the backyard gig in Waco. So much fun.
Backyard gig.
Yeah, I put you guys at the backyard twice, didn't I?
Yep.
I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't know you were there. That sucks. We could have met. Yeah, so let's wrap it up. It doesn't look like he's coming back. It's been 5 minutes. Cut it a bit. No, Jessica, let it go. Let it rock out. So when we were in COVID lockdown and Robbie and I would talk a lot, his hair was really a lot longer because he couldn't get out to the hairdresser or
That's right.
stylist.
Stylist. Stylist. It
So
did get pretty long, didn't it? Yeah.
it looked good though, brother. It looked really good.
Yeah, I'll probably let it grow.
Right
I
now,
just I'm gonna have Jessica snip the ends just a little bit so it just looks healthier is all.
she says, "How long do you want his hair, Matt Drake?" I'm thinking at least another 6 inches.
That'll be like
Boom.
back in the day, you know.
Right? What's up, brother?
There he is.
Hey, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
My phone went dead, so I'm in the kitchen cooking.
Nice.
I'm digging
Sorry
the
to leave
ceiling.
you guys on such unexpectedly. Phone just went. See ya. So I went, okay, I'll just go in the kitchen and plug it in. See if I can get back on with you guys.
I was just telling him that we have a little bit of a connection with Rough Cutt that you don't know about, you wouldn't know about. But in 1986, my band was in Arizona and we were coming out to Hollywood to play, and we were having trouble getting booked. And my mom at the time lived here in California, and she was friends with this girl that was dating, I think it's Amir, this blonde girl.
Yeah.
And they put in a good word, your band or whatever, him or whoever put in a good word for us without knowing we were any good. And so we played Gazzari's and the Troubadour. And then he was all worried, like, oh my God, are they going to be any good? He's like, I put my name on the line, and it turned out okay. He was like, they could play.
Oh yeah, Nancy, she's still rocking, I mean, Amir.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's thank God, I mean, some people's parents are still alive, which is great. I'm grateful that my dad's in a better place. But my mom, she just passed away not too long ago at 82, which she lived a long life, thanks God to science. I'm in a lot better shape than my parents, so I'm really grateful. Like I said, still got the teeth and the hair, The hair's a little crazy tonight, but I still got it. My son, he's 44, and he has an issue. He's got his mother's side of the hair deal, so he can grow a beard overnight, but I can't grow any hair on the face still. But that stewardesses was quite a. They wanted us to film 6 months or 7 months after we filmed it, and it was out. So the movie was out. It cost us, I think, $10 to see it. So we made $5 off of it. And after all, we were underage, so we actually, if we wouldn't have signed a release form, we actually could have probably made some cash off of it.
Right. Did you have the heavy bass line? Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, I was playing bass back then. Let me tell you, you know what? They got a hold of my wife and I, and we're doing the 25-year red carpet. I couldn't imagine what some of those people looked like 25 years later. The porno business is really hard on you.
Yeah.
Look at Ron Jeremy. God, he was a music teacher, classical.
Really?
Oh yeah. There was a story he shared with me that he played classical piano and was a teacher and decided that he was going to make more money in the porno industry after he did Playgirl. Nobody, he couldn't get a date. It was interesting. He put his full name in there. His middle name's Jeremy, so he put his full name in the Playgirl. And his grandmother was getting all kinds of phone calls from women, and she told him, "Hey, Ron, you need to change your name." for your grandmother to say that, that's pretty trippy, you know?
Yeah, that's rough. So he went from playing the piano to playing with his organ, huh?
Yeah, he went from piano to organ.
Bad dad joke.
That's why he used to show up. He was always in Hollywood every time we'd be playing. It seemed like he was always there. Till recently, he's clearly not going to be there. But
Right.
Yeah.
with the
Unfortunately,
law. But
what went down with him? Yeah.
yeah,
I heard
but
what
he
went
was
down.
always showing up to all these events. So big music guy, I guess.
Yeah, he loved music. He really did. He loved all the rock guys, and it's you remember the China Club that used to be in Los Angeles? Did you ever check that place out? It was on Selma and Gower in Hollywood. They had some of the greatest jams going on there at one time.
Was that in the 80s, late 80s?
Yes.
Okay.
Late 80s, maybe just as the turn of the 90s, somewhere around there.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd say 89, 90, maybe 91, somewhere around there. Yeah. I sure miss some of those days. What's going on now is kind of, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, just so different. It's just so different. It was the golden era. Like you were here in California through all that golden era. The 60s, 70s, 80s were just
Jimi
incredible.
Hendrix was playing around the corner from where my parents lived, he played Devonshire Downs. And that was just right around the corner from my parents' house in Northridge, And I actually didn't go down to Hollywood. I was walking around with penny loafers and big pants while everybody else was, wearing beads and sandals and bell bottoms, and I moved out here from Ohio. So it was a real culture shock for me at first. And then, I found myself being an outsider, and the guitar player's mom would make us our own bell bottoms, and so we'd have clothing that nobody would have, during that hippie period time, where you had all the psychedelic stuff going on. Actually, when I was 16, me and the guitar player, this guy Dave Smith, we went down to Hollywood, which eventually became the Aquarius Theater, where Hair was, and they had Star Search there. But when we went there, it was called the Kaleidoscope. And I saw the Sons of Chaplin there, and also got to meet T-Bone Walker and Muddy Waters backstage. Nice. So me and this buddy of mine, a guitar player, go backstage with this neighbor of mine who had I guess he was the harmonica player for Muddy Waters. And they said, "You guys want to go see Muddy Waters?" And we said, "Sure." So here we go backstage, and next thing I know is I'm drinking Southern Comfort with Muddy Waters.
Wow.
And then I got to go see him perform, and it was like, there were so many free concerts and stuff going on back then. It was a trip. In Glendale, you had the Glendale Civic, and there was, and then they had summer concerts at a place called Shoal Canyon, where actually I saw, I'm trying to think, wasn't it Neil Young and not the Stone Ponies, but Neil Young and that did Cinnamon Girl, Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Yeah.
So all these bands that, that were 60 bands, that were playing at that time. But, they were able to have concerts outside. And that's basically when I was hanging out with Bob Benberg and also Scott Gorham, and eventually was doing tech work and got in Thin Lizzy. What a trip, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was from the area, so he lived in the area then.
Yeah, he lived in, him and Bobby lived in La Crescenta, which was a little north of Glendale. Glendale back then was, believe it or not, was the head of the Nazi party. They were giving out they had pamphlets and people on Brand Street and Glendale Boulevard handing out pamphlets and now I hear it's full of Albanians. They've
Huh.
kind of bought up the area, and their culture is dominant there right now, from what I hear. I don't know. I don't go back to California much, even though
Yeah.
my son and grandkids are there. But it's just
Hmm.
the homeless thing. I would like to figure out a way how people could help the homeless and vets and stuff. We do a lot with dogs and stuff, and saving dogs and stuff. And there's got to be a way to help these guys. People, some of them aren't all right in the head, but there are some out there that just need a helping hand to get back up on their feet and get their families, and
Yeah.
uh, it seems like small community organizations help the people a little bit more than the government. The government's kind of tossed those people to the side.
Yeah. They act like they're going to help, but they don't do anything. Yeah, we'll take money for it, but um, I mean, I don't know. Like you said, a
Yeah,
lot of people are doing it. Do it.
yeah, and there are so many people out there that these friends of ours drive around with bananas and dollar bills. So when they see homeless people or an apple, they give them an apple and $1, or a banana and $1, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Because there's certain people that stand on the corner, and people think some of these people have got a really good. They're making really good money doing this, and you know, shame on them if they are making a living out of it. And
Yeah.
because my intentions are to help, not uh, to make them lean on not getting on their feet, or
Yeah.
if they need to something to eat. I was going into a market, and this little kid was outside with his grandmother, and she was in a wheelchair, and he was going, "Yeah, I hardly ever carry any cash with me." I says, "Hey, how about if I buy you? I'm going into the market. How about if I buy you a chicken?" So I bought him a chicken,
Oh,
brought him
cool.
out, and they were really legit. They really wanted, they really needed something to eat. So it's just. And I think that people seem to help people more than people think that they help people.
Yeah.
They reach out to help people because we're Americans, especially, it seem like we're really a very giving uh,
Yeah.
people.
Oh, yeah. No question about that.
You
No
know,
question. Even though the narrative on the news would be otherwise, try and tell you
yeah,
otherwise. Try and
yeah.
shame
We're
you.
always trying to help people, and
Absolutely.
we've never tried to occupy any country. We only tried to. That's probably the biggest mistake we've done, is going in and trying to change people's cultures when we
Yeah.
should just let them. You
Yep.
know, they're not going to be like us, but
Yep.
they find that there's big money in war, and it's a shame that that's what drives man. It seems like, instead of peace. So
Mm.
yeah, it's been a. I've had a great road doing the things I do. Playing in clubs and seeing some entertainment. I got to shake Jack Benny's hand when I went to the. Oh, I'm trying to think of the name of the place. I've got CRS these days. Can't remember stuff. Um, it was at where Bobby Kennedy was shot at
Oh,
Ambassador Hotel.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw Sammy Davis there, and George Burns and Jack Benny were there at the performance, and I got to shake both of their hands. I didn't wash my hands for a week. I mean, these guys are legends,
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
shit. I mean, excuse my French. Sammy Davis, what a talent.
Yeah.
My wife's grandfather built a lot of stuff here in Las Vegas, and actually had the Moulin Rouge, where all the black entertainers had to stay until they shot Ocean's 11 here, where Frank Sinatra actually was able to bring Sammy Davis into places where, if the mob still owned this set of corporations, Vegas would have never shut down.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Absolutely.
They definitely took care of people. They took care of the entertainment. They took care of big gamblers, right now, corporate, it's all about how many people are in the showroom, how many minutes your show is. We don't want it more than 90 minutes because we're losing this much money as people come out. And
Yep.
you know, it's all based on numbers, and they don't care about the people. In fact, when we were doing, we had the rating the Rock Vault show at the Tropicana, and one of the managers there went back to cleaning up the showroom because she could get a pension. She couldn't get fired. So in some of these hotels, they can fire management, but they can't fire like someone that does janitorial or the culinary, is because they're pretty much in a union, that the culinary union or the, you know, the Teamsters union, you know. So a hotel will have to close down for a year and a day for them to renegotiate. So say you're one of us want to go and buy a casino, and we bought it tomorrow, and we'd have to shut down for a year and a day from that moment we closed it.
Wow.
To renegotiate with the union. So that's
Wow.
why you go in and you're paying 30 grand for 8 guys in a show, you know, stagehands or whatnot. And the union, trust me, at one time, I believe, is a really good thing for people. But the government's got their nose into everybody's business now, that, you know, it's really hard for between the unions in Las Vegas to put on a show and the ticket brokers. The ticket brokers, when they're selling your tickets, no matter what show it is, they hold on to them for 90 days. So they hold on to that money for 90 days, and then they give it to the show. So if you're putting on a show here, whatever it is, if it's a Cirque show or whatever, the ticket brokers that are selling your tickets and, you know, giving you deals, they hold on to that money for 90 days. So to have a show in Las Vegas, you have to have big pockets. It's not like the old days when the mob, you know, brought in entertainment to bring people to Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? And so
Wow.
who knows? I think the lounges might pick up, lounge acts, because they don't want really a lot of people in a auditorium, except a friend of mine went to see the Raiders a couple weeks ago from Texas, and he had to be vaccinated, show it that he was vaccinated, and he wasn't. And then they had Guns N' Roses in there, I think a week before, and they didn't have any restrictions like that. So people got sick, and who knows what happened to them. But I actually, like I said, asked for COVID. I says, God, give it to me, but don't give it to me bad.
Right.
I want the antibodies.
Too bad they don't allow that. I mean, obviously that there's nothing better than the natural antibodies from having it, you know, but it's like, well, you can't count that, you know.
No, they're actually trying to get people. I had a friend that actually his brother works with Danny Coker on Counting Cars. And his name's Kevin Mack, and their parents used to own the Thomas and Mack here in Las Vegas, which is it's where they used to be, where all the concerts were before they, you know, put all these other venues in here. But anyways, he went to get blood, and he had all of the immunities for COVID in his blood, and he didn't even know it. So they were taking his blood, and that's really what they should be doing with these people. But I don't think that's their. I don't think that's the intent to begin with. I think they just. Somebody sent me this thing that Bill Gates is, you know, along with some of the other big, rich families in the world, like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. They've all kind of gotten together, and they kind of want to get rid of currency and use crypto or Bitcoin, so they can kind of track everything that's going on in our lives. I don't know. Somebody from Britain sent me this whole thing on crypto coins, or the stock for crypto, and then she was sharing all this stuff for me that, you know, it's like owning a tree or something, and you get you get so many branches, and when your tree's up, you know, you can't buy anything. It's interesting. Somebody also shared with me that they're putting things in people's palms that they can just pay with their palms.
Right.
Like a barcode, but it's inside your palm. And it reminds me of Logan's Run, you know, where they had something on their hand, and then at the age of 30, they had to be out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We watched that not too long ago. I think I've watched everything that ever was able to watch on TV in the last 18 months.
Right. No question. I watched more TV through COVID than I've watched in my lifetime.
Oh, I started taping like Columbo and Madlock and, you know, Law and Order, some things just so I can go through the commercials. I don't want to see, you know, all the stuff that they're pushing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I already know it's just all stuff to plant in your mind, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, fear itself, you know, you can forgive everything. What is it? There's two definitions. Forgive.
False evidence appearing real is one of them.
Yes. Yes. And forgive everything and receive, and fuck everything and run.
I know. Shit.
You know, so I don't know. There's a whole bunch of good ones, but yeah, that's one there that stands out, you know.
Absolutely.
But you know, it's the world is changing so fast, you know. I mean, I never thought this would be this fast, you know. I mean, remember when we first got cell phones? I mean, you know, it was like, you know, everybody had a pager.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody had a pager, and that was like, oh man, this is the shit, you know. Now I got to find a phone to call somebody, and then the phones were so big when they first come out, you know, and then they finally came out with a phone that was, you know, functionable, that you could flip or whatever, before they got to the smartphones that are smarter than me. I tell you, it can do more stuff than I thought I could do.
Yeah, I mean, these things have more knowledge than, you know, the NASA scientists had in the 50s, but, you know, for the technology to get to people to the moon, you know what I mean? I mean, just the computers
and the computer was probably what, as big as the house that we lived in.
Big as the house, and it's like, this has got more capability. I mean, it's
unbelievable how fast it's come to where we're at, you know, to where we can talk to people like what we're doing, or even to talk to people across the world, you know, FaceTime them or Skype, whatever, you know. And it's just we're living in an amazing time. We just don't need to abuse it. And actually at first it was awesome, and then until they started controlling what your thoughts are, you know,
through the media, which I'm part of, and I hate to admit that they send us stuff to read off every day. I avoid reading it just because I don't like spreading lies and fear.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's so much stuff out there, you know, that is not valid data on stuff.
Right.
Like, they tell you how many people get this, but they don't tell you how many people recover.
Right.
They don't tell you, you know, how bad it is, because they really want to push the narrative of fear.
Right.
So that, you know, people are afraid. I mean, I still go places, and you know, people stand 6 feet away. There's people standing out in 100-degree weather with a mask on. You know, you got to wear a mask inside somewhere. Take advantage of being outside.
Yeah.
COVID don't know if you're 6 feet or 3 feet. COVID don't know if you're standing up or sitting down. COVID doesn't know if you're eating or not eating, you know?
Right.
You know, so like, we went down to Mexico during this whole thing. I went down there with a friend. It was his 50th birthday. He had 50 people come down. We ate on a yacht. In 72 hours, they tested us before we came back. But we went to Cabo Wabo. It was Sammy's 30th birthday. And went in there. And we went in there with over 50 people, because he had a party. It was his 50th birthday, and he had, you know, 50 plus guests. And he paid for a lot of stuff. You know, you just had to get there. And but they tested everybody, and I got on a plane and flew home, and I was fine, in 72 hours. So I don't see why they can't do that on a regular basis with everybody.
Right.
You fly somewhere, they test you, and you get back on the phone. I mean, you get back on the plane and fly home or wherever it is. Now they're pushing the mandate, and if they're pushing something so hard, people push back. They don't understand. Maybe it's a good shot for you. We don't know. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is.
The
This
sales
lady
pitch
the
is
other
really
day.
hard. It's a
Huh?
hard sales. It's a hard sale that they're pushing.
Oh, it is.
It
It is, and they don't want to push anything that might be, like what I took. I took some medication and got over it. I still have some probably fatigue moments in my days, and that might be from the COVID. It might be from the medicine. I'm not sure, but every day is a better day, And I know people that have had some really bad reaction to it, and it's hard to talk to people about it because some people have gotten the jab, and you don't want to tell them something about somebody that happened to someone that took the jab and it was a really bad experience, because you don't want to discourage that person, right?
Yep.
So it's like I'm for people who feel good. If they need to feel better about traveling and take it, I think that's their prerogative. And if it's really a vaccine, then you shouldn't really have to worry about getting it from somebody that didn't take it.
Right.
Well, I mean, to your point, with the testing, that makes the most sense, because if I walk into a venue and say Jim doesn't have, or say two guys, Jim hasn't taken the vaccine and John has, but but John can go in there having taken the vaccine but still pass COVID, but Jim has never taken the vaccine and doesn't have COVID. He can't give you what he doesn't got. So
right.
If he's taken the test, you go, well, you took the vaccine, but you got it and you're going to pass it along. And John, you didn't, so you're okay. Come in. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
No, and there's people out there that are pushing for other people to take that vaccine. Well, now their government's trying to get involved and make it a mandate where everybody should take it. But to me, it just it's like the flu. If so and so, like you just said, Robbie, if so and so has got the flu, you just take the stuff that's going to stop you from getting the flu. There was a person I know that is a very knowledgeable person on this whole thing and has been hanging with scientists and a few other people, and she shared some stuff with me. She got sick, and instead of taking anything, she slept for 5 days. She was over it. I did Carrot Top's sister-in-law's. She was retiring from the Air Force, a lieutenant, and she was in the legal department. Well, her daughter, which is Carrot Top's niece, had COVID and had it for 12 hours. She had a fever. That was it. So young people really shouldn't be worried about it. It's people that are maybe obese, people that have diabetes or other underlying medical issues. But really young people, I don't think need to be afraid of it. Them putting masks on children, I don't think that's the right thing for them to be doing to children, because I think they're going to grow up with respiratory issues. So I think the narrative is just, it's so out there. It's so crazy. I mean, you don't know. Really, I will say something. Man has created something, and this was man-made. But if you go back in time, pretty much everything that, like the Hong Kong flu, the China, the Shanghai flu, SARS, those all came from China, except for Ebola came from Africa, from what I know of. But most of these things and them, they make all of our all of our medication. The Chinese are. So what do we know? We might not be even getting. We might be getting poison in the medication. I mean, I just don't trust the Chinese, as you know. I mean, everybody went Russia, 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 but
Yeah.
the sleeping giant has been the Chinese all along.
Oh yeah.
You know,
something a friend of mine told me that really kind of made sense to me, and he's a doctor, and I trust him in my life, obviously, but he told me, he said, look, you know, the vaccine, when you do a vaccine, you take a virus, you mutate it, you take a portion of it, you recreate a portion of it. That is the vaccine. You're giving a portion of that, a mutated portion of that virus. And oddly enough, we have the big push to get the jab. We've got the COVID-19 SARS-2 vaccine hit. We start doing all these vaccines, and then all of a sudden we got a freaking Delta on. And he's telling me, like, dude, straight up, where the do you think Delta came from? It's a mutation of the original virus.
absolutely. And then we're going to have another one, and we're going to have another one. You know,
and now third.
Yep.
So we
yeah.
Both
so the
doctors
best thing you can do is let your immune system build up against this virus that's going to mutate into something else, into something else, into something else. And there's so much metal and protein in these vaccines. A friend of mine went in for an operation, and he got a tetanus shot before he went in. That to me is a vaccine that's good for 10 years. A shingles shot is good for 10 or 5 years. You know, at 68, I had to get a shingles shot so I don't get shingles. Right. You know, so anyways, he went in for an operation, took the tetanus shot, and when he went in, they gave him another shot. And now when he went home, he took a magnet from his refrigerator and it sticks to his arm because there's so much metal in they gave him the vaccine without him knowing it. So it's you know, I'm kind of leery about going in to get, you know, I'm supposed to get a pneumonia shot. And I'm going, yeah, I don't know. I'm supposed to get a shingle shot again, you know, after so many years. You know, you get a certain age, and, you know, I'm not sure they're going to give me what I'm supposed to get. Maybe they'll give me the vaccine that I don't want to get because I've already, my immune system's built up to it. My likeliness, my doctor told me, is, you know, 99% chance that I won't ever get the virus, but I might get another version of it. But still, with my immune system, it won't be that bad.
Right.
And I can still get the medication that if I need it, or a Z-Pack. Some people have used over-the-counter stuff and beat this without having to take anything. It's when it gets into your lungs and gets into your oxygen, supposedly, where it's becomes a dangerous issue. So
we did ivermectin, vitamin D, vitamin C, and
zinc.
triple the vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, and vitamin C. Triple the daily, amounts that you're supposed to be taking, and ivermectin, and we survived it. So, but oddly enough, we did we did the first Pfizer shot, and the first Pfizer shot made me so ill that I refused to take the second shot. And I had been going through some health issues. Robbie knows about this. I had my heart checked numerous times and had zero issues. EKGs, echocardiograms, it came back normal. I did the first shot of Pfizer, and later I'm having a stent put in my heart. Now,
that's one of the
shot.
That's one of the after effects, is it blows up your heart. I went in just before while we've been shut down, and had all of this checking on my heart as well. Everything, right? I went to a specialist. I'm on Medicare, so, you know, it was great that I could go and get whatever. So anyways, I went in, and the doctor said, hey, you know, you got a high calcium rate, you know, and I went, oh, really? So it could be in my veins, or it could be around my heart. So anyways, they checked everything, and they found out it was around my heart. So I didn't have anything to worry about. He says, you're good. I'll see you in a year just to do a checkup, and you're good to go. But however, some people, there's been after effects with this jab, I call it, or shot, whatever, which has affected their hearts and has blown their heart up.
Yeah.
You know? And so, It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, I mean, I've lost you guys again. Hold on, I'm back. Uh,
So Drake, you think it's possible, and maybe that shock did that to your heart? Very possible, because it's a lot. I'm hearing a lot of that, and a
Yeah.
lot of that's getting suppressed too. I'll see a video of somebody talking, go, "Oh, did this, whatever." The things that have happened next, the video's gone. It's like, "Oh, you can't see that video." I was like, "Wow, it got pulled down."
Yeah, the doctor friend I told you about told me that there's a protein that gets spiked in men from the jab
Yeah,
that cause blockage, severe damage to the heart lining, swelling of the heart, all of those things. And I just thought it was odd that out of all the times I had my heart looked at and tested, that all of a sudden, a month and a half after I take the first Pfizer shot and I felt hideous for a week. Now I've got, a stent in my LAD and a blockage of 50% in my right artery, that coronary artery that wasn't there to begin with. It's just, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't know if it's related or not related, but it seems like
it probably is, because that seems to be the MO. Something happens, and there was somebody else I was just seeing online talking about it. Oh, somebody who got their third shot and had died from it, and they were just chastising everybody. You got to get your shots, got to get them. You unvaccinated people, bad, bad, bad. And they got their third shot and died. It's like, well, and some people won't put it together. Well, no, it can't be that. They're trying, no, 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 no. It's like, yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's too much at risk with it, and just too much unknown. And
yeah,
things I've read, and obviously with my job and doing what I do, I do a lot of studying on everything that comes out on both sides of the coin. And I see there's pros and I see there's cons. I see, that there's people dying every day now, whether or not it's from the actual disease or remdesivir or underlying issues, or the fact that they simply got the vaccine and their immune shut down from it. I mean, we've got people testifying in Congress right now that 49,000 people have died simply because of the vaccine. These aren't numbers that you're seeing. We're also
yeah,
having cases here locally in San Angelo where you're seeing daily death numbers come through where people are fully vaccinated and they're still being claimed to be a COVID death. So to me, it's ridiculous. If you look at the masks that we have to wear to do things like propane or spray paint and mold remediation and asbestos and all these things, and here we are facing one of the most deadly viruses known to man in our time that has basically crippled and shut down our world, and a fucking piece of paper over your mouth is your protection. I think that is just idiotic. You can spray something in the air and smell it through your mask. Do you really think the microbes are small enough to take away the fact that you're going to get that virus through the mask? It's idiotic to believe that. Now, if it makes you feel better by wearing the mask, so be it. If it makes you feel like you're safer by wearing the mask, then cool on you. I get it. But to think that that's protecting you is just outlandish. It's outlandish. Now, if somebody's talking to you and you're getting that spittle and it's hitting your mask, sure, I get that. But if somebody's breathing straight in your face with the virus, and they've got a mask on and you got a mask on, you've still got a high percentage you're taking that virus in. Being stuck in a plane, being stuck in close quarters.
yeah.
Here we are doing social distancing, standing in line, going through security check-ins at airports to sit right next to somebody and in front of somebody and behind somebody that have no idea who it is. It's just absolutely outlandish, and I'm just sick of the whole damn thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, and it's not a political thing. It's not a political stance. It's not being right side. It's not being left side. It's just being common sense and rational thought and saying, you know what? This doesn't fucking add up. And it doesn't.
No, it clearly
We were
doesn't.
talking a year ago that we'd have 2.2 million deaths in the United States within a few months.
Yeah.
It's fear mongering.
Yeah.
And that's all it's been. And we've separated and we've segregated and we've built hatred, and people who have never felt hatred in their lives now feel hatred over issues that they don't even understand simply because we're being force fed this shit in the media every day.
And they're trying to push it onto the right, but there's a lot of people who are left who are totally against this. A lot of people who are left who don't want to get the jab. A lot of people who are left who think just like you do. It's probably split pretty even. Probably.
There's a song out there by Struggle Jennings and Caitlin. It's called God, We Need You Now. And if you listen to the lyrics of the song, like honestly, go check it out, look it up. It really just kind of drives home the fact that this is all designed to separate us. This is all designed to segregate us. This is all designed to build a hate amongst us so that we become weaker as a nation. And that's exactly what we're doing. Even here in small town Texas, man, we've got, we've got the F Biden stuff going on. We got the Donald Trump stuff going on. We've got people that are hating on both sides of the aisle. We have buses shipping people in to do marches and BLM, and it's just absolutely bizarre. We're eating ourselves, and cancel culture is designed to eat itself. There's no way anything can survive cancel culture. We've done everything we possibly can to take away our heritage, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's our heritage, it's our history. And if we don't fucking learn from it and we don't remember it, we're going to repeat it. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah. There's Joyce. Hey, Joyce. Yes, you're welcome.
Robbie's like, I don't know.
No. I mean, I could talk about it, but I don't know. It just, everybody's so split on it all.
Brother, I've never been a party voter. I've never considered myself a Republican or a Democrat.
No, I'm not.
Thought was the best person in office. And I was raised in a time where you respect the office of the president. And you don't root against the president to fail because that's your country. No. But I can't get behind the bullshit that is being spread today.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
On
the other side of life, Jason's here. Thanks, Robbie, for the gatefolded Saw It Coming, the album. That was a great album. In fact, I need another copy of that. Get him, Matt Drake. Brian Thomas says, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. I went off this morning on the radio on air, so I'm kind of surprised that I'm still here. And it's not because I hate anybody or anything like that. It's just simply wake up. It's just time to wake up and see what's really going on.
Yep.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap it up, my brother. What do you say?
Yeah, it sounds good.
We love you too. All right. Until next week, we hope you join us again. As always, we love you. Be safe, be kind, take care of each other. It doesn't matter where you're from, what color you are, what creed you are, what culture you are. We're all family. Take care of each other. And that's the only way we're going to get through this. We'll see you next week.